he gives you certain gifts or honorarium or something, then you can deposit those foreign exchange in this particular account.
That you are working and for this. When you open the account and deposit some money, what normally banks are
Basically, they will ask you how have you got this particular foreign exchange. So you can mention that this particular foreign exchange is in the form of when I went abroad, I taken this much foreign exchange.
They ask evidence.
Yeah, obviously they will have their own KYC requirements.
Sir, RFC privilege is given to the returning NRI. Now, supposing person comes back to India, he opens up the RFC account, transfer the fund to RFC. After a few years, he wants to go back. So at that point of a time, RFC they will close the account. They cannot transfer to NRE because under the NRE, the permissible credits, there is nowhere mentioned about this source is to be considered as a permissible credit. So in that event, that person has to close up the RFC account, and what would happen
No,
with the
I just recently read that now you are allowed to convert your RFC account into NRE account. Now they are allowing it.
Okay, so on departure, on leaving country,
again you can reconvert your RFC account into NRE account.
Okay.
Now you can also credit your foreign exchange earnings through export of goods or services, royalty, honorarium, etc. However, if you are in a business, then you would like to open an EFC account rather than RFC domestic account. This account can be maintained in any freely convertible foreign currency. Now, say for example, you have got certain amount in USD and certain currency in pound. Then you can have one account per currency. So you can open n number of accounts. So say for example, if you want your RFC domestic account in pound, then you can open RFC pound account, or you can open RFC dollar account. Again, this is a small window given so that you, again, say for example, again if you want to go abroad for visiting a particular country, then again you need not draw the foreign exchange from authorized dealers, then again you lose out on commissions and exchanges. So again you can just withdraw from this particular account and take the foreign exchange. So there is a saving in commission charges. See, basically again you have to follow the current account regulations. However, there are different ways. I was just discussing this particular point with another professional, and he was also of the view that since you have been allowed to park your funds in this particular account, and basically this is your foreign exchange, whatever foreign exchange you have accumulated under this account, you should be allowed to use this account.
And it can be withdrawn at any point.
It can be withdrawn at any point of time. However, there is no checkbook facilities available, so you have to just give the request for withdrawal. So say for example you want $1,000 in the form of foreign currency from this particular account, so you will just put the request and they will give you the dollars. So there is no checkbook facility available under this.
If I more than $10,000, I can withdraw from that currency.
That is possible. So say for example if I am going on a private visit, so now the rule says that I cannot take more than $10,000. Now since you have accumulated your foreign currency in this particular account, you should be able to draw more.
Like RFC, not domestic but earlier, can I convert it to the FCNR account? FCNR deposits, can I convert? RFC, not domestic, not the NRI RFC account. Can I convert when I am retaining?
They are allowing it to convert into NRE and FCNR account.
FCNR. Because only I don't take any currency risk.
Yeah. Correct.
Sir, so for example, in this account I have dollars, I have accumulated dollars. So after a year or something, can I convert it to yen or some other currency?
You should be able to convert. You will have to open a new account, then again you will have to pay the currency risk. That account will get converted into another currency. You should be able to. However, see the thing is that banks have their own their own policies, in the sense that certain banks allow RFCD deposit only in certain currencies only. So if your bank allows that account to be maintained in a particular currency, then you should be able to. Friends, I will need to rush a little bit so that we can finish the presentation in time. So foreign currency withdrawals are possible in the form of cash, traveler's checks, foreign currency, DD, etc. Again, so till now we talked about what are the foreign currency accounts maintained in India. Now let us talk about what are the foreign currency accounts which are allowed to be maintained outside India. Who are the permitted persons? Authorized dealers are allowed to have their accounts maintained outside India. Branch outside India of a bank in India. Shipping or airline company which is incorporated in India are allowed to have their accounts in foreign country. LIC, insurance company. Exporter who has undertaken any turnkey project outside India, he is allowed to open and operate foreign currency account outside India. Again, so we were discussing about students.
Can foreign company open foreign currency account in India?
Foreign company. So say for example, if there was certain project in India, so they can open a foreign currency account. There is a general permission given to them, so they can open foreign currency account in India. However, they will need to close it when they close the project. So if you have got any branch office in India or a project in India, then you are allowed. However, how will you operate in India? See, if the companies.
We are talking in terms of the airlines.
See, so foreign airlines have general permission to open foreign currency account in India. They have the general permission. Even shipping companies have the general permission to open the account. Now we talked about the students who are going abroad. So now a person resident in India who has gone abroad for studies or who is on a visit to a foreign country, provided that he is on his return to India, this particular bank account which he was allowed to open over there, now he will have to close this account at the time of his departure from a foreign country. So Indian student while coming to India, he will have to close his account. Again, short visits to India will not be counted for this purpose. Again, those businessmen who go for foreign trade exhibition or trade fair, they are allowed to open foreign currency accounts abroad. However, after the close of the exhibition, within 1 month, you have to close the account and repatriate the funds. Friends, you have a separate session on borrowings and lending in foreign currency and Indian rupees, so I will be covering only limited aspect to it. So, borrowing by a resident mutual from his close relative, borrowing is allowed subject to $250,000 or its equivalent, subject to condition that minimum maturity of the loan is 1 year. Again, the loan has to be interest free, and the loan is received by inward remittance in free foreign exchange either through NRE or FCNR account. You can lend money to your close relative. You have the option under LRA scheme to give loan up to $75,000. Again, on behalf of non-residents, you can make the repayment of loan to the financial institution. That is also allowed. So, if say for example, if your non-resident relatives have taken any loan from financial institution, you can make the repayment. Again, non-residents are allowed loans from banks against security of shares, immovable property, deposits. So, like we discussed for FCNR deposit or for NRI deposit, they can take the loans. Again, those loans which they get, they cannot be used for agriculture, real estate or trading in TDRs. Again, repayment will have to be made through NRO, NRE, FCNR, inward remittance, gifts. Now, if you are making any gift to a non-resident, then resident individuals are permitted to gift up to $75,000 under LRA scheme. Earlier there was a separate limit, now it has been subsumed under LRA scheme. Again, you can give rupee gifts also. If you are giving rupee gift, then you need to necessarily credit this amount. You have to give the check and you can credit the amount to his NRO account. Now friends, like I discussed at the inception that we need to have see, you have to see the Companies Act. There is a section 6 in the Companies Act, 1926, but now it has been replaced by a new Companies Act. So now we will have to see the definition given by the new Companies Act.
Is there any change?
It has been widened a bit. I think I was just discussing it with somebody and they said that 3 generations have been covered. Yeah. Again, say for example, a NRI comes to India. What are, I mean,
If there is no hint that point that you have to refer companies, then why should you refer to companies? If there is no mention in that you have to refer.
no, they have mentioned. They have mentioned. See, SEMA is even today mentioning about the old companies act.
That's
Now, as a consultant to non-resident Indians, we should always ask for a balance sheet from non-resident Indians. If they have not prepared their balance sheet, so we should help them in preparing the balance sheet because it may help for wealth tax purposes also, income tax purposes also. So they may have accumulated certain assets in India, certain assets abroad. So we should typically ask for or typically prepare two kinds of balance sheet, one for Indian assets and liabilities and one for foreign assets and liabilities, because it may help you in wealth tax purposes also. Again, the first step would be that you have to ask the NRIs for the list of assets or liabilities and their bank statements in India while preparing the balance sheet. Again, if you have bought certain assets in India from loans, then we should be able to have the nexus between the loans and the assets, so that tomorrow if the ITO asks us or if certain regulatory authorities under FEMA ask us, we should be able to demonstrate that these assets were purchased out of loan funds either in India or from outside India. So that calls for a very specific and dedicated paperwork on the part of NRIs. Generally, we have to help them in maintaining this sort of documentation, and we should always insist on preparing the balance sheet on a year-to-year basis. Generally, in case of individuals, they do not have much details to demonstrate how they have got these assets in India, but it is always advisable to have the balance sheets prepared on a yearly basis. And more particularly for Indian assets and liabilities and for foreign assets and liabilities. Tax return disclosure, so it also helps because in case of non-residents, when they are filing returns in their home country, they may have to give disclosures about their assets in India and liabilities in India. So now certain countries like USA, they have got a detailed disclosure in their tax returns. Based on that, they have to give their details about assets and liabilities in India, what are the income they are generating in India. So preparing of balance sheet, preparing of these documents, in fact help them only to disclose in a better way. And friends, with this, I thank you for your patient hearing.
Dear friends, learned speaker has very well articulated the different features about the deposits. As far as NRIs are concerned, as far as resident individuals are concerned, he has taken few questions on involved properties also. I think he did very good, he justified best of his abilities to distinguish all the features of the foreign accounts. So I would request everybody to join me to give a very well hearty and we will reassemble here after lunch around 2 o'clock.